I'm all shook up. Hey.
Hey guys, welcome to the All Shook Up podcast. And on this episode, we will be interviewing special guest Jesse Aron. Well, thank you for joining, and let's get started.
All right.
So, how many years have you been in ETA?
28 years.
Wow.
28 years now. Yeah.
And
long time.
how old were you when you started your tribute?
When I started my tribute, actually I've been singing since I was 4 years old, so that's a tricky question. But like I started the actual tribute full time probably in actually no, it was 2000. 2004 technically was full time, but I've been performing since 1997, so it's been a while.
Wow.
And I was can't remember how old I was back then, but old enough. It was let's see, it's about 23.
Okay.
23 years old. Yeah.
And how did you discover Elvis?
Through my mom and dad. My mom and dad had a rock and roll band when I lived in Chicago, and they used to have the rehearsals in the house all the time. So I went to sleep at many a nights listening to my father do his Elvis tribute, and my mother was a backup singer in the band as well. So I used to hear that stuff all the time.
Oh, that's awesome. So
Yeah,
your
that's pretty
parents
cool.
were kind of like your musical background.
Yeah, I listened to everything. Anything they had the radio on all the time, whether we were driving or at the house, they were listening to records or just had the radio on. So anything that they were listening to, I was pretty heavily influenced by that. Other than the current stuff that was playing back in the 1980s and stuff too.
So what inspired you to be at ETA?
Probably just seeing how cool it was when my dad did it when I was a kid, and like go to school and all the other kids are talking about, well, my dad's a police officer, my dad's a doctor, and those are all great things. They're really great things, and it's not everybody that can say, well, my dad has a rock and roll band and he does impersonations with Elvis. So I thought it was pretty cool. That was kind of his side gig, he did that just to make a little supplemental income for him and my mother so they could take care of us. And it worked out well. We met a lot of interesting people, all the different band members and everything in the house all the time. So I enjoyed it.
That's awesome. So what's your favorite thing about being an ETA?
My favorite thing about being an ETA would have to be being able to give everybody an opportunity to step out of reality and kind of just join me and I get to make them forget about all the things that may be going on in their life that are pretty, hectic or stressful or gives them anxiety or whatever. And they can kind of step out of that and come see one of the shows. And it makes me feel good to be able to make them feel good that way. Because, life is short. You should be able to enjoy yourself. And unfortunately, all of us have a lot of different things that stress us out because life is pretty stressful sometimes. So I like that it's my job to make it not stressful for people.
Yeah, and kind of take them back in time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what's the first Elvis song that you fell in love with?
The first Elvis song I fell in love with? Wow. It's a good question. I'm trying to think. Probably, and everybody's going to hate me for saying this, but it's true. Probably Suspicious Minds, because I got to watch Dad do that song. That was one of the songs that he really enjoyed doing, and I got to see him perform that quite a bit. And so I started listening to Elvis live in Vegas, 1969. That was kind of my first album that I started to listen to him in the jumpsuit. And that was because my dad performed that era. So Suspicious Minds definitely, especially from that album, because it was like really fast and really cool.
Yeah. So do you have a favorite Elvis movie?
I do. I have two. I like a lot of the movies. The 1960s in the movies, as everybody knows, is probably my favorite. Not that the jumpsuits aren't great. They're great. But I'm a Gen Xer, so I raised myself. And in doing that, I would watch a lot of Elvis movies, and I'd watch a lot of movies in general, but I got to know how to talk to people, know how to talk to girls and all of that stuff by watching Elvis movies. And so the very first one that I liked right off the bat was King Creole. And it was some of his best acting, and it had one of the greatest soundtracks.
Yeah.
And then on the B side of that, I like comedies and stuff, and I like to make people laugh. So Tickle Me was another one that was one of my favorites because I loved the soundtrack, and the movie was just so ridiculously funny.
Yeah.
It ended up being one of my favorites.
Okay. What is your favorite album that Elvis recorded?
As a fan, it's hard to pinpoint all of that stuff. and kind of zone in on one, because I really love everything that the man did in one way or another. Even the ridiculous stuff I like, because it was just kind of how it molded him into that next version of himself. But right now, probably the Promised Land album is what I'm thinking, because I like a lot of the songs off there, and I really love that song.
Yeah.
So that's one of my favorites to listen to, and it's got a bunch of different good ones on there that I like to listen to. And the album cover is really cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So now about performing. What was your very first Elvis tribute artist performance like?
Oh man, I was, I think, 15 years old in high school, and it was my sophomore year, and the school had a talent contest, which back then it was a lip sync contest, and they called it Air Band, and everybody picked on me in school because of my hair and my sideburns and all of that stuff, and the fact that I loved Elvis. So I signed up, and I wore my father's jumpsuit, and I went out and I lip synced to the Elvis medley, and in front of my whole school, and I ended up winning third place and getting like $75 or something.
Wow.
And then I didn't get picked. I never got picked on as much anymore, because they understood that this kind of ran a little bit deeper for me than just dressing the part and and admiring somebody that they didn't quite understand.
Yeah. So what's your favorite era to perform?
I bet a lot of people would probably think 1970s, and it is. Don't get me wrong, I do love doing that, because when you put those on, it makes you kind of feel amazing when you're in a jumpsuit. But I really like the 1960s, because I feel like it hasn't been tapped into enough, and it's just one of those eras where it gets skipped over a lot. And I'm talking about like studio recordings and the movie recordings. They're not all terrible. Like, those were some of the greatest sessions in the Nashville sessions that Elvis did, and it's where his voice was changing, so he would try to hit those higher notes and everything. That's kind of how I learned how to sing like Roy Orbison, or sing the Roy Orbison stuff, was by listening to Elvis in the 1960s, because their voices were really similar on a lot of stuff. Of course, Roy sang a lot higher, but Elvis had a great falsetto too when he was doing stuff. So the 1960s, getting out and dancing and wearing the headset microphone, that's definitely my favorite.
Okay. So what's your favorite song to perform?
That depends on my mood. Like I said, because I'm a fan, I love everything that he did. So right now, it would be the song "He Touched Me," which I just performed in Illinois at the Illinois Elvis Festival with the Infinity E Band, and it was just one of the most amazing. Just everybody singing those harmonies together, and just hearing how it all blends together, and it's just such in those high notes in it, and it's just become a favorite of mine. And I completely forgot about it, because it's just, you don't get to hear all that stuff all the time. When you go to the contest, you hear the same stuff all the time. So I'm constantly trying to figure out another song I can bring to either a show or a contest, and that's definitely one of my favorites right now.
Okay. And so what would you say the hardest song to perform is?
It's Elvis, so all of them are pretty hard. But the 70s stuff seemed to have some of the more difficult stuff, I think, because he was kind of trying to reach that next level as an entertainer. He still had some great stuff in the 60s that was really, really difficult to do too, like Surrender and stuff like that. But for the 1970s, I would have to say probably there's a song called Padre that he did, which is a really great song. And even Elvis had a really hard time hitting that last note on the song. And just to even match that is a challenge sometimes. And I did it for the first time a few years back in Myrtle Beach with the band Fever from Texas. And it was just, I fell in love with that song now too. So I'm trying to put that into some shows and stuff, and maybe even a contest, you never know.
Okay. So with getting ready and stuff, what's it like getting ready for you or for a show?
Oh my God. It is chaotic, because it's just go, go, go all day long. It's never a one-day thing for me to prepare for a show. It's usually the week of. I know if I have a show on Saturday, I know I have an entire routine that I go through that whole week, which includes workouts and stuff like that. I don't want to miss workouts. I want to make sure my cardio is good and all of that stuff. And then just trying on outfits. I always try on everything to see what feels good during that week. Rehearsals, of course, are constant. When I'm at the gym, I've got the headphones on and I'm listening to songs to figure out what I want to do. And then just the day of, from the time I wake up in the morning until the time I'm finished performing at night and I've said hello to everybody, it's all day. It's all day. I put everything into it from start to finish. So it's just a combination of all of those things that I do all week jammed into one day when it's show day. So it's a lot of fun.
Wow.
It's fun though. I really like doing it, and it's over so fast. You all this preparation, and then all of a sudden it's done, and you're like, okay, I guess move on to the next one. So, but it's a long process.
Yeah. So what's your go-to warm-up routine?
For warming up, I'm not much of a vocal warm up type of a person. I'm more of a like I was saying with the process and everything, with trying things on, listening to the tunes and figuring out whether or not it's something that I can do or not, or whatever is going to match with the costumes. So the warm ups are really more me refreshing my memory, but with these songs by listening to them over and over. And then if I feel like I need to rehearse them, or if I'm feeling a little off or something, just to be sure, I'll rehearse some stuff in my little studio that I have here at the house.
Okay. So do you have any nerves before the shows?
Oh my God, yes, 100%.
How do you deal with them?
Every single show. I try to deal with them as calmly as I can, so that because I know that there's other people that I work with, and I don't want to make them nervous too. So I internalize a lot of that, and I kind of turn it into a strength for when I'm on stage. So, but I do get nervous, mostly these days, mostly about the sound, whether or not the sound is going to be good or not, whether or not, if I'm playing with a band, whether or not they're going to play the tunes well enough so that I can actually feel the part. It's just a matter of all sorts of things. But and if I've got a new song that I'm going to do, because like I do the variety shows and stuff too sometimes, where I have to learn some new stuff. So it all factors in there with my nerves. But then as soon as I step on that stage, though, it turns off. It's usually gone right away. And then I just like flipping a switch, and then you're in character, you're on stage, or I'm just being me while I'm on stage, just kind of entertaining everybody. But it's definitely, I definitely still get nervous.
Yeah. So have you ever had a surprise request from a fan, like song wise?
Constant. They're always either yelling stuff out from the front row, or 9 times out of 10, it's stuff that I have on my list that I'm going to do anyway. But I'll still give them a hard time and be like, well, you know what? I've never heard that song before. We'll see, and joke around with them a little bit. But yeah, we've always had people give requests, and it's just a matter of, if it's a track show, I have that entire library of probably 700 songs, whatever Elvis did, I have that all. So more times than not, I can give them their request when it's just me doing the show. When it's with a band, it's a little harder, but we do try. We will try, because I'll always turn around and ask them while I'm on stage. I don't care if it's the middle of the show or whatever. Say, you guys want to do that one? And if they say yeah, then we jump right in and we'll do it. So I'm always happy to make those people feel good. So they're the reason that I do what I do. So I want to make sure that if they do say that they want to hear a certain song, that we make sure we do it for them.
Okay. What do you think the strangest request you got was?
It was not so much a request as it was a production that I was in Myrtle Beach. It's like I was telling you before, when I was doing Padre, I did a mixed set that weekend. I did like a variety set of Elvis of all different eras, and then I had a movie set where I was coming out, and the movie Blue Hawaii has a song called Ito Eats in it, and it's one of the most ridiculous but funny songs ever. And I never ever thought that I would get to do that, but I did it with the band Fever, and we did that one in Myrtle Beach, and everybody seemed to like it. And of course, all the guys are chiming in and doing their parts on it too, and kind of made it that much more fun. I love it when they challenge me and they give me songs that people don't get to hear very often, and I'm like all in. I'll listen to that for like however long it takes me to get to the venue. It's constant. I'll have that on in the car just so that I know that it's fresh in my brain.
Okay. And what's it like performing with a band?
Oh, it's unpredictable. You never know what's going to happen. Like you just and it depends on the band. Like every band is different. I've performed with just about every tribute band that there is out there. From Canada to England to here in the States, just about from one coast to the next. And they're all different, but they're all Elvis fans. When you've got a band, especially if you've got really talented performers behind you, the drummer, the guitar player, those staple pieces, and the keyboard player, if you have all of them come together, and that's when I usually feel the part the most, especially in a jumpsuit. I really like performing in a jumpsuit with a band. More than I do with tracks. Tracks are great, don't get me wrong, but with a band in a jumpsuit, it's always that much more dynamic. So it's just like the closest thing I'll ever feel to how Elvis felt when he was on stage performing with a band. So it's quite the rush.
I'm sure. So you mentioned England. What was that like performing over there?
England was it was scary but cool. Like I learned so much. It was long before all of the guys from England came here. We didn't really get a lot of guys from England that came over here to do the competitions or anything. They kind of just stayed and did their thing. And then as I was performing there, I kind of watched. I have a DVD of it. It's called Burning in Birmingham. I was in Birmingham, England, and I was the headliner for one of their competitions. They had 83 competitors.
Wow.
And out of 83 competitors, there was only about two that weren't great vocalists. Everybody else was great. Like they could really sing. And so I was nervous as soon as I heard that, because I sat and listened to everybody the day before I had to do my show. And of course it was a new band. So I warmed up to them, and once they realized that I wasn't like stuck up or into myself or anything like that, and I was just joking around with them and having fun, we all had a great time. And in the video, in the DVD, you can kind of see the crowd warming up to me because they didn't know who I was. It was my first time that I was there. So they were a bit reserved in the beginning, and then by the time the end of the show was over, they were all screaming and dancing and clapping and laughing along with me. So it was like, it was the greatest feeling in the world to be able to go to another country and to get good results. As scared as I was, I made sure that I did things the way that I was supposed to. It was a great time. I had a really fun time there.
That's awesome that you got to go over there and perform with all these guys.
Yeah.
So has a fan ever thrown anything up on stage during one of your shows?
Oh yeah, we've had all kinds of stuff thrown up on the stage, from little notes, items of clothing, yes, bras, underwear, and stuff like that. All the cliche things that you hear that get thrown at Elvis or Tom Jones and all those people. It's kind of a thing. And in my sense, it was just done as a joke. Like I had these giant underpants, these ladies' underpants that were ginormous, that somebody threw up on the stage. And I mean, they were huge. As a joke, they threw them up on the stage, and we all had a good laugh about it. But yeah, it's pretty common. That and being almost pulled off stage a few times has been like trying to give a scarf to somebody, and then they pull, and they almost pulled me right off my feet just because they get so excited. So that's why I always hand them to them or throw them to them now, because I've learned my lesson.
Yeah. So where has been your favorite place to perform so far?
Out of every place that I've got to perform, probably, and this isn't to say the other places weren't great. They were absolutely great. Canada is one of my absolute favorites. They had one of the world's largest Elvis festivals and competitions called Collingwood Elvis Festival, which unfortunately isn't around anymore. But when it was around, they had this one part of it. There was a resort called Blue Mountain, and you look out and it's like an ocean of people that are just like shoulder to shoulder. Nobody's fighting. Nobody's having a hard time. Nobody's getting too like drunk off of whatever that they can't stand. Or it was just all people having a good time, and just like shoulder to shoulder concert in an ocean of people. That was kind of the closest I would get to a kind of a crowd that Elvis would have, because there were so many people, and not one person was having a bad time. So Collingwood and in Canada, in that whole area, was one of my favorite times to perform. Just the fans are something else. They're really, really good fans up there.
That's awesome. So where do you perform at the most?
Midwest, mostly the Midwest. I perform a lot. So like Wisconsin, Illinois, even Michigan, and a little bit over the other way. I go to Iowa a lot, and a little bit south. I go down that way a little bit. So it's a lot of it is there, but then I do tours and stuff too, because like I said, I do more than just the Elvis. I do the Roy Orbison too. So when I'm doing that, I tour Canada, and I do that quite a bit. But a majority of it is drivable. I can actually drive to a lot of those places, which I prefer to do anyway. So, but there's not any place that if they weren't going to make me the right deal, that I wouldn't go. You know, just want to make sure that everything works out. And I still have some bucket list places that I want to go to do stuff too.
So with the Roy Orbison and Elvis thing, is that difficult to like go do one thing, or like do Roy and then a couple days later do Elvis?
Not really. Not for me. I've gotten so used to it after an amount of time. Like, the best thing about doing the Roy is the outfits aren't as complicated. Yeah. You don't have to worry about what you're going to look like in a jumpsuit, because they are not forgiving whatsoever. You just throw a jacket on and do your thing. So the differences are there, but the difficulty in the music, it kind of evens itself out for me, because with Elvis, you got to do a lot of moving around. You got to, you have to have good cardio. You have to be able to sing those notes while you're moving around. With Roy, you just have to be able to sing, which is a tall order for Roy, because he's one of the most difficult performers to emulate vocally. And even Elvis said that he had one of the most beautiful voices that he ever heard. So thank God all he did was stand there. So that's all I have to do is stand there. So it evens out. There's a happy medium with both.
Okay. Is there a dream place or like event that you would love to perform at?
Yeah, but mine is really ridiculous though.
Let's hear it.
So, a lot of guys are like, oh God, I would love to have a crowd like, Elvis had at Madison Square Gardens or Aloha from Hawaii, and those are great places. I've visited those places. I've seen some of those places in real life. But for me, because I'm such a horror freak and like horror movies are my thing in my spare time, I want to go to the Stanley Hotel and I want to have an Elvis festival there. And I want to have a bunch of my friends there with us, like during the Halloween weekend. I think that would be amazing. Yeah. It's a little expensive, but everything is. So, I mean, why not just have it on the bucket list and have like a Halloween themed entire weekend?
That'd be
and that's kind of my bucket list thing. I would love to do that.
Yeah. So, do you enjoy competing?
I do. I didn't used to enjoy it as much, but I think as I get a little bit older, I enjoyed the camaraderie a lot more. I enjoyed getting to know a lot of the newer guys. In fact, I signed up for Portage Elvis Fantasy Fest, and I got the list of guys, and there's so many of them that I don't know because there's so many that are starting up constantly now. It's not like it was when I was coming up where we had a steady group of guys that were doing the same thing, so you always knew what you're going to get into when you go to a contest. These are constantly new faces, new names, and everything. So I'm looking forward to meeting them and seeing a lot of them. And of course, there's the few that are there that I like Hugo and Logan and all of those guys. And I'll see all of them, got those guys there too. So I'm looking forward. There's like 28 performers, I think, that are going to be in that contest from what I saw on the list. So I'm really looking forward to that. And that's where it all started for me. As a fan, before I even put on the jumpsuits or the costumes, was Portage, Indiana for Elvis Fantasy Fest. So it kind of holds a special place for me to go there. So I'm really looking forward to being able to go there this October.
Okay. What's it like competing for you?
I just think of it as another show for me. I don't let the nerves or all the cliche things get to me. Like I see a lot of the newer guys that are going through, and they're going through it. It used to get to me back when I first started, just like it does them. But after you do it for a while and you become seasoned and you perform for a long time, those things don't bother you anymore. And that's kind of how I've approached them all. Even since winning Tupelo back in 2023, I just kind of tell myself, it's just another show. Just go up there and these are the people that are providing you with the stage and with the band to go off and show off your tribute and show them how much you love Elvis. So that's kind of how I look at it now. Now I just look at it as, all these promoters are putting all of this money, time, and energy into this festival, and it's a competition, and here we all are there. But it's like so much fun too, just because it's such a great opportunity to show off a little bit more and let people know that I'm still around. So that's kind of how I look at it nowadays.
Okay. So what is it like performing or competing during Elvis Week?
Oh my God, that was always kind of chaotic. Because remember, like I said, I've been doing this for 28 years, so I've watched that complete transformation of even Memphis and Elvis Week go from being images of the king, and that was it. That was all we had back in the day, to producing 2 competitions and starting 2 competitions up myself with a couple of different partners. And then all of a sudden, here we all were going head to head with Elvis Presley Enterprises, and we all just said, you know what, we're going to go. Let them do it, because we were happy that they were finally embracing us, and we knew that they had the money to outdo all of us. And so it's a lot of fun. Like when we were doing it, all the guys would be performing all over Memphis. And when I was in production and I was working as entertainment director for one of the productions that we were doing and the competitions, we had Epic, which was the Elvis Performer International Championships. We had that for 4 years. And then I had King of the World that I had too. And that was the one that we had probably the most guys that I had in the competition, was like 90 or something like that, or 92, all in one day. Wow. So here I am calling them all over town because, like I said, we had images of the king and the ultimate going on at the same time. So I had to make sure that their schedule worked with ours. So I'm calling them all and I'm messaging them on Messenger to make sure that they could get there for their scheduled time, because we would work around everybody. Because we wanted everybody to coexist, Yeah. But it's chaotic. But now, since EPE and Elvis Presley Enterprises has kind of taken over that whole thing, it's much easier. It's all in one location, and it's just in a safer location. So you don't have to worry about that, because they amp up the security and stuff down there. Because back when we were doing it, we were in some really scary areas when we were doing it. And we just had to make sure that the hotels and places we had them would amp up their security too for us. So it's chaotic, but now, like I said, when it's in one place, it's much easier now than it used to be, because it's literally just going across the street from one building to the other, instead of a 15-20 minute drive into an area that we really didn't know back in the day when we were doing it.
What's it like producing these events?
Producing is it's almost like if you can't sleep because your mind won't shut off. I've had many nights like that when I was a producer, because I would always want to make sure everything was right for everybody, because I wanted to take care of the guys. I wanted to be the guy that they could go to count on for everything, and I would rally them, and I would get them to come to all of these things. And as a producer, you just kind of stand back. Our entertainment director, my boss was the producer and I was the entertainment director, and he taught me everything I wanted to know about production. So I learned a lot. I really liked being able to do both, and it gave me such a better understanding of how everything works, that the little things that used to upset me didn't upset me anymore, because now I understood how everything worked all the way around, and I was able to explain it to, my other peers, my other brothers and ETAs and stuff, how this works and why this works the way that it works. So it was stressful, but it was very it was pleasing. I liked it. I liked being able to take care of everybody. I liked looking out and seeing them having a good time, getting to do what they wanted to do, and us being the ones that were providing that for them. So I liked it.
Okay. And what was it like for you going to Graceland for the first time?
Oh man, it was 1997, and my buddies surprised me and they drove me all the way down there. We stopped in Nashville first for the night, and we hung out down there, and I recorded a song at this little novelty store on a cassette. You Could Be the Star, it said, and you go in and you pick the tracks, whatever they do, and you record down there. So we went to Nashville first, and then the next morning we packed up bright and early and we went there. It was during the week, and it wasn't during Elvis week, so it wasn't really busy. And there's a video of me that I have somewhere of that visit, and my buddies were like videotaping me walking back and forth and just looking over the wall. And then later that night we came back, and the security guard, the woman that was the security guard that night, just sat and talked to us for maybe 2-3 hours and just told us about all the cool stuff that's happened to her and all the celebrities that she got to see come in and do special tours and stuff like that. So it was great. It was really good. And it was great that my buddies thought of that and thought enough of that, because this isn't really their thing. We all grew up in the 70s and in the 80s. So they had different likes than what I had. And the only reason they liked the Elvis thing was because of me. So they treated me and they took me out there. So it was really nice, a nice surprise to have them do that for me.
Yeah. So finishing up here, do you have any upcoming shows?
I do. It's not so much a show, but a competition. I'm going to be at the Elvis Explosion in La Crosse, Wisconsin, September 3rd through the 7th. So I'll be out there for the whole thing. I'm competing on that Saturday night, and fingers crossed, hopefully we go to the finals on Sunday. I'll be doing the gospel show and everything that they do there.
Okay.
And then after that, I get to come up by you, and I get to do a show with Jeff Crick. And spin outs, and I'm looking forward to that. And there's another guy that I haven't met yet that's was added to the bill that I'm looking forward to seeing him sing. And then I have my own show that same weekend, I believe like 2 hours away from that.
Okay.
And it's like an afternoon matinee type of show, and that's my favorite, because I'll bring my whole system down, and I'll be able to perform and do that with another guy. There's another Elvis guy that's going to be up there with me. I can't remember what his name is right now, but but he'll be up there with me. He's like a special guest performer. So it's just me and him, and then I'll do a variety set there as well.
Okay.
September's busy.
Yeah.
October's busy. November is busy. I go back on tour in Canada again in October. So August is usually the only month that I kind of only do a few things in, so that I can leave room in case I do want to go to Memphis, or, in case I feel like competing or anything like that, or just downtime. I like to have a little bit of downtime, whether I'm going to do that or not, when it's the summertime. So, but that's it.
Okay.
JesseAaron.com. If anybody wants to see anything else, or see where I'm going to be, or meet up and check out a show.
Do you like performing in Canada?
I do. Canada is like I said, they're the fans in Canada and the fans in the States, and I'm not taking away from anybody here in the States. I love performing here too, but they're just so much more into like the Americana, like how everything started here in America, like Route 66, all of those different rock and roll stars like Jerry Lee Lewis, like all of the 1950s and 60s. They embrace that up there a little bit more than we do, I think, because it happened here, so we've seen it here, but they didn't get a chance to see all of that stuff because not a lot of those people came up there. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. So if you could perform one Elvis song for the rest of your career, what would it be and why?
Oh God, I can't even remember. Let's see. There's the like I was saying earlier, the one that I'm liking the most is Promised Land off of that Promised Land album. So probably Promised Land, just because it's nice and fast paced, and it kind of reminds me of my life because it's just all about him going everywhere and then actually coming back home, to the Promised Land. So, and it's very representative. It represents what I do basically, and what all the Elvis entertainers do. All the traveling we get to do, and they ain't nothing like coming home after all that stuff's said and done.
And then last one is, if you could ask Elvis one thing, what would it be?
That's a loaded question. Probably, I would probably ask him if he understood the impact that everything that he did, from music to movies to his charities that he would donate to, if he actually understood how loved and respected he was all over the world. Not just here, but all over the world. And I imagine that would be a loaded question for him to answer too, because he was just the biggest rock star. Everything happened to him when it was supposed to. He came along at the right time, so he made all those mistakes before anybody did. And he was under the gun from the news and the media, and then it had to have been overwhelming for him. So for him to know the effect that he had on us, I think would be what I'd want to know, if he actually knew how much we cared about him because of how much he helped us and how much his music helped us.
It's a good question.
Yeah.
Well, that is all I have. So
okay.
Thank you for joining and doing the podcast.
Oh, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. It makes me feel good to have some younger fans interested in how I got started. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yep, absolutely.